Welcome to this episode of The Essence of Leadership. Today, I have the privilege of having Miss Melvie Berkery with me. And before I dive into this interview, let me read her bio so you can really see how awesome she is. Melvie is a dynamic and accomplished entrepreneur with a diverse portfolio of successful businesses. With a keen eye for innovation and passion for excellence, she has established herself as a leader in multiple industries, including consulting services, healthcare, and security. Melvie also works as a consultant. She leverages her extensive expertise to provide strategic guidance to businesses, helping them navigate complex challenges and achieve sustainable growth. In the healthcare sector, she is dedicated to improving patient outcomes and enhancing the overall quality of care through innovative solutions and compassionate leadership. Melvie's ventures in the security industry showcase her commitment to ensuring safety and protection for individuals and organizations. Her forward-thinking approach and dedication to high standards have earned her a reputation for reliability and effectiveness. Now, through her entrepreneurship endeavors, Melvie continues to make a significant impact, driving progress and fostering positive change across various fields, and not to mention a huge impact in her community. So, with that being said, Melvie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my goodness, Demetra, thank you for having me. You make me sound more awesome than I actually am, but I love it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm very excited to have you on today to share with the audience just about this. I'll say the leadership journey. And I guess I'll start right there. What was it like for you on this journey of leadership, like getting to where you are today?
Well, I wish I could say that it was easy, and I wish I could say that it was hard, but it just really was what it was. It was a journey that I decided to take because I had goals that I wanted to achieve. So whether it was easy or it was hard, it was my journey.
Right.
I cannot change anything about it, and I would choose never to change anything about it. I loved all of the highs. I loved the lows. I loved the people that I met along the way that shaped me, that formed me. I loved my fails, which I think are just kind of education for future setups. I loved all of my wins. I celebrated those. I included my team. I included my family, and I included my friends. So this journey, although it has not always been a crystal stair, was my way to climb to get the things that I wanted.
Awesome. And you said so much in that statement. So we got to unpack that, just how you laid it out there. So I want to ask you about the family piece. You are married. You have, I mean, some people don't believe the entrepreneurship journey, the leadership journey, all of the businesses, the ventures that you have can can all blend together. But you have kids, like you're a wife, you're a mom. You have all of these things going on. How do you balance that and still show up to be that ray of sunshine early in the mornings because you start early in the morning?
Yes. Yes, I do. Most mornings I start about 4 a.m., but I'm really, really good at disconnecting once I get home. For the first probably 10 years of my career, I was working 24/7, or really just maybe like 18-hour days. But right now, oh, yeah, and I did that for a very long time. But now when I get home, if I'm getting home at 8 o'clock, or even if I'm getting home at 5 o'clock, I'm very intentional of using that time just for my family, using that time to disconnect from business. So that really helps. But what's really awesome is that I have a wonderful husband at home who supports me in all of my endeavors, who loves to talk to me about my day, that I can bounce ideas off, who's having somebody to support you and not jealous of you, and that you work as a team
Right.
does more. It's just like love will lift you up and make you the leader that you are. And
Right.
having a child that's coming after me who can see what it is to just be comfortable in your skin, doing the things that you love and being the person that you want to be is encouraging. Like I live to be the light for her so that she can be the light for the world. And so just been like making sure that we vacation, making sure that we walk, making sure that we pray, making sure that we stay in our space and that we're focused is how I create my balance.
Awesome, awesome. And the other thing you just said it and just dropped it and just kept moving, the failures, right? And I say that because I've spoken to so many people in coaching sessions, Melvie, even just doing workshops, and failure is a big fear for most people. Like no one wants to fail, but everybody wants to win. And for you to just put that out there, your first statement, like what was the like I guess what is the drive that pushes you to move past the failure, like to even be willing to fail publicly?
Oh, the ability to win. Because no matter when I get up, if I get up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, I'm a winner and
Right.
I'm seeking to win. You know, somebody made the most insane statement before to me and they said, your problem is when you don't win, you get an attitude. I said, yes, exactly right. I am meant to win. So if I didn't win, something happened that wasn't correct and let me fix that process. And so that's how I look at my small losses or failures, learning opportunities to improve what I've done and to get that win. And so without those, we can't, oh, if we're always doing everything great, how are we going to improve? So
Right.
although I love people to give me compliments, please tell me what I'm doing wrong. I
Right.
surround myself with people who can give me constructive criticism that allows me to take those small failures and make them big wins. You have to look forward to them.
Yeah, and one thing I'll tell you, I'm reading the book by Tim Grover. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him. He was the coach for Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. He has a book called Winning.
Mm.
And ironically, he said exactly what you said. It's paraphrased, but he talks about people being afraid to fail. And he talks about, of course, Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan was his longest standing client. I want to say he worked with Michael for 15 years. And he said Michael and Kobe both were like, how could we make this better? Looking at back then, it was DVDs or, VHS, whatever it was at that time, they were constantly looking at the tape and wanting people to tell them, what can I do to be better? Because that's how you win. You keep looking at ways to improve, and it doesn't have to be, massive wins. And you even said like the small losses, right? Because it could be the little thing that
Mhm.
you could work to improve upon to continue to make yourself more efficient. So thank you for hitting on that because that is such a hindrance for so many people. Now, the other thing I want to ask you about is the overall like professionalism, right? Like Melvie, you've done some amazing things in your career, and I know you're not done. You're just getting warmed up, right? So, how do you keep yourself abreast of what's happening in the industry when it comes to professional development?
Oh, that's a great question. And it's one that's not utilized or asked enough. Is I'm very, very fortunate to know one is that I need to have do personal reflection, regularly assess what I'm doing and change. I also do mentorship. I both seek and mentor individuals because I can learn from my mentees just like I can learn from my mentor. So that's very important. Reading and research, is huge. I wake up in the morning and I read CNN, Fox News, I read the New York Times, all kinds of information because I don't just want one source. I like to read different sources and form my own opinion versus the websites or the news stations that are giving me their opinion. And it happens to be just different opinions will make you a more rounded person than just reading people who agree with you. Also, I have to have continuous education, advanced degrees, again, going to associations and building those connections with other people who are in the industry with me as well.
Mhm.
So those are just kind of a few of the things that I do in order to have different professional development. And I also meet with my team. People think, oh, well, if they're your team that you employ, how is that beneficial? But if I'm not doing quality with my team, how am I actually doing my performance improvement plans? Because they're out in the field, they're mid level or low level, and some of them are senior level. But I make sure that I meet with each of them individually at least once a year so that I can stay abreast of things that they may know that I don't know, even if it is a CNA or even if it is somebody who does one of my contracts. They're important, their voice needs to be heard. But more important than that, I need to hear it so that I can grow and I can absorb what they know to make me a better individual.
Melvie, like you don't even understand the impact of what you're saying right now. When I'm speaking with a lot of executives or people in the upper level management C-suite, so to speak, rarely do I hear them being willing to actually have that conversation. It's more of them making the decision and letting it trickle down, not understanding the impact of it when it gets there. So I must say, for you to be willing to have that conversation once a year so you can make things more efficient, learn of what's happening at their level so you can make better decisions for the company overall speaks volumes to your leadership. It's so many people that just like, oh, well, I've been in this role for X amount of years. I've been in this industry. I'm an expert. But you're only an expert when you can really hear, like you said, the multiple opinions, the perspectives from people, because then you can take in account to, those next steps that you could be making for the company, if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes complete sense. And so often we don't grow. We take a position and we stay there. And
Right.
that's just, we can't grow that way.
Right, right. Now, this one, because you mentioned having a daughter and, having, sometimes younger people work with you. What are some tips or strategies you would give a new and emerging leader, right? That person who's looking at Melvie, they're like, gosh, I aspire to start I'll say my leadership journey. What would you say to them?
I would say continue to learn exactly what we said, but build strong relationships.
Mhm.
Build relationship with people that you can trust, that are going to be very honest with you, and that can teach you things that you may or may not encounter, and also to be adaptable. Some people say, "Well, I always thought things would be that way," but if we know anything about life, is that it's never what we think. It's just kind of what we're given. And if you're not willing or able to adapt to what's coming after you or what's coming before you, you're probably not going to be very, successful. But in addition to all that, what I tell people is seek a lot of advice from a lot of people, but always, always make your own decision. So because decisions that they may make for them may not be right for you, but it's okay to understand why they've done that, the mistakes they made. So perhaps you don't have to fall into that same trap. Or sometimes you do, because sometimes people can only learn by making those mistakes
Right,
themselves. A wise person will learn from the mistakes of others, but we don't all have to be wise.
right,
Sometimes we can just be smart and learn from our own mistakes. But decision making and making sure the things that you care about and that you want to do are reflect that it's a part of your decision and not somebody else's. It's your goal, it's your vision. It should be your decision.
right, right. And you're right. And it's some people that will say, Melvie's successful. She gave me this advice. I'm just going to implement. Now understanding that their culture or environment or circumstances, whatever it may be, are just not the same as yours. And that's
Exactly.
across the board, right? Like you've given me amazing advice several times. And there's times I sat down and I said, okay, Melvie did it this way. This may not, I don't live where you live. So I may not have all the relationships. Like really taking it and modifying it for yourself is the most important thing. And I think you being in that position of influence and telling people, hear me, but make your own decisions speaks volumes to them too, and it empowers them to move forward. Um, the other thing I wanted to ask you was like when you think about your measure for success, and this might be a tricky one, right? Like,
Yes.
what is Melvie's personal measure of success?
Personal growth
Yeah,
is
like
going to be one, like tracking tracking personal and team development milestones.
mhm,
Like, did I meet this today? Did my team meet that? That's
right,
how I consider my growth, but also patient outcomes. Were my patients helped? Did they grow? Did we assist them? Did they get everything that they wanted out of the service when we signed them up as we promised? Team performance as an additional one. How is my team performing? If they're not giving me their all, then there's probably something that's wrong and let me fix that. So if my team is not performing well, then that means that I'm not performing well. And I tie those together. And it's not just about, and finally, I would have to say goal achievement.
okay,
Um, so if I've got all of these goals and everything's in place, but I'm not achieving them, then I didn't have those measures of success or growth. So I look at them as kind of all in one. in order to track my measuring success. It's not all in my bank account, although I do love to have it there. But that's, in fact, like most people, I want that to be last
Right.
because I believe if I do all the other things first, that would just naturally follow. But I
But
still want
well,
it.
I will tell you, you actually speaking to that again, you is some people that I've seen in, in different sessions, their goal is to get to that position for the title, right? Everything that comes with that. Yes, we get the payroll increase. Who doesn't want the extra income? But at the same time, you're impacting people's lives, employees, clients, and so many others. And people don't realize that. There's leaders, Melvie, whether you believe it or not, that don't like people.
Well, so who are they leading? The sheep?
So I'm like, how do you lead? Like, what does that even look like? I've spoken with executives who don't have one-on-ones with their team. So how do you lead them? Yeah, yes. So when you're saying these things, I want you to understand that it's not the norm. Um, it is a lot of people that think like you or similar to you, but it is a lot of people that don't like people. I don't even know how that works, but I can tell you it's not working out well. So yeah, so thank you for sharing that. And the other thing you dropped at the beginning, you talked about these vacations and how you went from working 18 hours. And that, of course, speaks to you putting in the sweat equity to get to where you are. You didn't wake up working 8-hour days. You've invested the time and effort and energy and income and all of these things to get to where you are. But these vacations, so how do you plan out this vacation and unplug to really enjoy it, being in the position that you are, with the different businesses?
Well, Demetra, that's a great question, and it's probably the most difficult thing that I do. My husband and I, we travel extensively, and
Mhm.
so it is hard for me to be like overseas as much as I am
Right,
and not being here with my team. And people say that you can work anywhere in the world, and truly I can. When I'm on a vacation, I really do like to unplug, but I do also like to be at the helm of the boat. Like I love to be the captain of the ship. So when
right,
I'm not here, I feel a certain kind of way. But I do realize that you can burn yourself out and that vacations are essential to what we're doing. If I'm not vacationing, I am not going to be effective when I come back to work. So I need that time to reflect. I need that time to hike. I need my massages. I need time with my man. I need the sun. I need my vitamin D. I need a few drinks so that
right,
I can come back and be effective because I worked so hard for so long without a break that I take breaks often. We try to take at least 6 vacations a year. Um, in at least 10 days. People are like, well, how are you still working? Don't worry, because when I get back, I can power through things. Um,
right,
Unbeknownst to me, I think somebody told me you work at a very rapid speed. And for me, that was just my normal speed. But
right.
if you're always going at 90 miles per hour, then you will tend to get to your destination faster, but you'll be tired when you get there. So I need to take those times to recharge because I've done probably 30% more than most people by the time they've woken up because I've been up so up so early, already planning. And so I use that. My husband and I, at the end of every single year in December, we look at our calendars and we say, where would you like to go next year? And that's we plan them out. He goes, well, I'd like to go here, here, and here. And then we say, that's what we're going to do. And we look at the best time of the year to go those places and we mark them on our calendar. And sometimes we buy the tickets right there.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, though, for this year and next year, we've been taken over by family weddings. Family and friends have been getting married. We've been to 3 international weddings this year. We still have an additional one to go to. Well, 2 more. We're going to see 2 brothers still getting married internationally, one in Portugal, one in Africa. And then
Wow. Okay.
next year, my husband has 3 weddings to go to in Europe. So we're going to look and see how that works for us and what we wanted to do and what we can skip and what we can plan otherwise. But making sure, like just like you go into a year with the New Year's resolutions, we go in there with vacation resolutions. This is what we're doing. We take that right off the top before everybody gets in what they're going to do, we already have that time set aside. So, no, we can't do it. We're already booked that day. So, making sure that that time is available a year in advance.
Right. And that definitely is important with being in the leadership roles, being able to balance the self-care, knowing that you need to unplug. And I will tell you that sets an example for your team too. Because I've seen leaders work, 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 and they're at burnout, and then they're feeling some type of way when the employee calls out sick. They're like, well, I'm here. Well, who wants to live like you? Like,
You're not making what you make.
right, like why would I want to do that? And I think understanding that you need to take care of yourself and be there for your family and to set that example for them definitely speaks volumes to how important self-care is on the leadership journey. And as we bring this to a close, I guess I want you to share, how can people, follow you, contact you, maybe in social media or whatnot, to take a look at your businesses.
Well, thank you. You can also, thank you, Demetra, for that. You can always visit my personal website at www.adaberkery.com, which is www.adaberkery.com, or you can reach us on our business line at 248-748-9861. And we're on Twitter, or excuse me, Twitter X, formerly known
I
as
know,
Twitter,
right?
Instagram, under the same Berkery handle. And from that website, you can visit all 5 of our enterprises just by clicking a button.
Right. And that gets me every time. I'm like, Twitter X, or is it like, I get all of them mixed up too. So thank you so much, Melvie, for coming on today, sharing insights. I greatly appreciate your time and all of your support. And to the audience, you guys definitely reach out to Melvie. She has some amazing businesses and things that you could learn from. And feel free to reach out to her through her social media channels, as she mentioned, if you have any questions, or maybe you need some healthcare services or security services. She is one of the most, I'll say, effective, impactful people and honest and resourceful people that I know. So definitely reach out to her. And again, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, Demetra. Always happy to be a guest.